Hi there, a pleasure knowing that you always watch The Inside on Equinox Television. Thanks for joining me in this fresh edition of the program. Today in The Inside, we shall be talking about the Anglophone crisis. Yes, what happened last Friday across the two English-speaking regions of the country. We shall equally be looking at the United Nations 72nd General Assembly and the presence of President Paul Biya, who will be revisiting the speech of Donald John Trump of the United States of America. My guest tonight is a university don. With him, we will be looking at this and more in this edition of the program. Join me and my guest right ahead. You are welcome to join me. I am Fohan Sinchanja and you are watching The Inside on Equinox Television. My guest tonight is Ako John. He is a university don. With him, we'll be looking at the recent Anglophone crisis that has taken another twist, and as well as the United States of America, the President Donald Trump, his intervention at the United Nations, and the President of the Republic, Paul Biya. Good evening, Ako John.
The pleasure is mine, Hansen. Once more, thank you for this invitation that we are here to talk issues concerning Cameroon and the international community.
Of course, we're talking issues concerning Cameroon, home first things first. We talk about what happened last Friday across the two English-speaking regions of the country when you saw the massive turnout of protesters, a peaceful protest. Did you expect this to happen?
Yeah, hoping that we are always being informed about what is going on in this part of the region. I believe each and every person in Cameroon was aware that the head of state was going to make a speech at the United Nations this same Friday, and within the people of the two regions, the Anglophone regions in Cameroon, they wanted the international community or the head of state speech at the United Nations not to be like there is nothing in Cameroon. They equally intended to obstruct the course of event that many Cameroonians were they are going to concentrate on listening from the head of state in New York. They were equally going to listen for the Anglophone people worries within the country. And this came at a very sensitive moment when every Cameroonian was thinking the only issue they have to listen or get as news was the message of the head of state at the United Nations. But then we were equally surprised that the message about what is happening in Anglophone Cameroon took a different turn. And traditionally, you will imagine that people carry the plan of peace, and meaning they were not there to sabotage, they were not there to kill, they were not there to destroy, they were just trying to make their claims or applications, their worries being heard by the higher authority. So then you can equally imagine that in a country like ours, it always happens that when things come up like this, some people use it as an instrument to make their own propaganda over. Because I have equally seen that many people are talking against this act, many talking against, and at the same time, the same Cameroonians are telling you that the Anglophone problems are Cameroonian problems. So if we believe there is a problem, I think there's a need to instead sympathize with these people and see how the solutions can equally be better for all Cameroonians.
Maybe before we continue, let's watch what happened in the northwest region of Cameroon. This no comment that took place in the northwest region of the country, how people came out massively for this peaceful protest. We'll begin with this image of this lady, very old, who equally came out, and many say it was the image of the day. Let's take this no comments, and right back, we shall discuss about that. The no comment that will be coming up just in a few minutes ahead. As far as the Anglophone crisis is concerned, we talk about what happened in the Northwest Regional Capital, Bamenda. That was at the weekend, Friday, the 22nd of September 2017. Before we come back to the no comment there, the strike was peaceful, and yes, on Friday, what many noticed was the fact that the policemen and gendarmes, some of them were marching alongside the protesters. what we've not seen before. We remember the university protest. That was, we saw how students were brutalized by policemen, but surprisingly enough, gendarmes and policemen accompanied some of the protesters, even though they shot others somewhere.
Yeah, you think for the first time we are seeing these images in our country where the protesters are instead being encouraged, being followed behind, and even some policemen were seen clapping. Others were even seen busily filming what was going on. Others became cameramen, and others, since they were equally connected on WhatsApp and the rest, they were the ones taking the images and sending to their relatives. I believe after the incident in Kumbo, many police officers don't want to be victims again, because the individual who shot dead a young Cyprian Sefidem in Kumbo created a lot of impact within the ranks of the military, and nobody wants his own name to be mentioned. And now, what is the state supposed to do? These are conduct of good governance we find within the police force in many states around the world. If you get into a strike action, what the officers of law and order do is to follow them up, to manage them in such a way that they don't destroy state property. They don't stand a danger to the state. Even in the United States, you just saw the UN summit. Many people are in front of the United Nations singing and chanting songs against their various state governments. And you can imagine no police officer will brutalize them, but they are there to watch and see that no incident to happen against any of the protesters. But these are issues which, when you consider them, you realize that a state has to move forward. Because any regime which come out and every time his people make a demand on an object, they are being tortured, they are being beaten, others are being slaughtered in the name of not allowing them to express their view. It's a bad government. You will come again, you will realize that we learn a lot. We learn a lot from this behavior of the policemen, and you realize that the protesters yesterday too, as they said, it was peaceful. We have to find a way to protect public institutions. And if the people are making their march pass along the road, just follow them. In case even the Red Cross, you will equally imagine that there were Red Cross members among the protesters to see that if any of the protesters is injured, they too will be taken care of medically. It is a right, as we said formally. A strike is a basic right throughout the world, but such strikes need to be monitored. And that this is the role of the police. The police is not there to kill. The police is not there to shoot or destroy or even abate, interfering with the activities. It can only interfere when this endangers public property. Away from this, it is a free right for everybody to march. It is a free right to everybody to make a public demand.
However, some persons were shot dead. We can confirm that some persons were shot dead in Mamfe, in Kumbo, and in Boya. At least 3 persons were shot dead according to our own findings. There are other figures, more than 3, but we cannot independently confirm that. Can we say today that what happened in some of the gendarmerie posts, like that of Kumba, a gendarmerie post in Kumba that was burnt down by the protesters, can we say it was a reaction to the gunshots that were fired?
Heavily, to every action there is equal and opposite reaction. That's what we were told in physics. You cannot pull down a bullet on my neighbor, and I know that if I don't take a reaction, then the next bullet may be targeting me. And this is what happened. Equally, in Mamfe, we were told that not only a gendarme officer, but a civil administrator was the one who unleashed the cartridges against the crowd, because the military had equally come to learn that they have no power within their armpit now to kill protesters. So the civil administrator was the one that uses a gun against the protesting crowd. These are information which people of your domain and your profession have a right to get deep and find out. Because in Mamfe, we have not had any.
We equally have same information. It is alleged that it was the SDO.
Yeah, so that is what we are saying from the same information, because we too have people left and right who gives us update. But I started doubting how a civil administrator would take the laws into his hands. We have not heard of any destruction in Mamfe. That is what we are also learning, that the demonstration in Mamfe was very peaceful and calm throughout the villages. People marched towards their divisional headquarters. And if nothing has been destroyed, I don't see where a civil administrator will use force against an unarmed group. This, at times, if it comes to what we call an atmosphere of war, these are international humanitarian crimes, and they are not triable in the national courts. Very soon, if we continue like some people are already making motion of genocide, because when people are systematically being executed and those who are responsible for are not even arrested or questioned, then it means the issue is being planned. There is an intention to maybe eliminate certain groups of the people.
Yes, just to Actu Cameroon comes back to an interview that was given by the national station CRTV at 5 p.m. Friday to the governor of the Southwest region, who said in French that if that elites and families should go and calm their dogs, like he said, the chien who goes on the streets and destroy things. He quotes the governor as qualifying the protesters as dogs, according to Actu Cameroon, which is relaying CRTV 5 p.m. news on Friday. Can we say today that administrators are helping to fuel the crisis?
Obviously, it's not like they are helping. Their actions, as I said in the past time, I've said most of these people are colonial leaders, people who went to school before even independence. And 60 years after independence, the same people are still being found managing the same government. Academic principles of governance have changed, and most of them have not been informed. When you are guiding a people, when you are ruling a group of people, your words, your diction, when you use in a case or in a situation like the one we are having now, should be very mindful. Let your speech be screened by those whom we call them your technical advisors or your assistants. It is not at any time that you voice certain words. How can you dare in a country call a group of people dogs? Then you are surely the head of those dogs, and meaning you too, you are the number one dog. Because if you are leading a group of dogs, I believe in a camp of animals, when there is a leader, the leader cannot be another animal, except you are of that same type. So the insult doesn't even go only to the dog he is referring to as Anglophone or the English people. He too is the leader of those dogs. And I would like them to mind their speech, because at any time we are going to see, and there is a lot of instances we have said, in a country, when you manage crisis, you learn not to create other crises. You learn to manage a conflict. You don't need to cause confusion within the conflict. In conflict management, again, we are told that most often we stop using violent words when you want to appease the people. I can ask, and I was discussing with a fellow colleague who was in Bamenda, has been in Bamenda for the past 7 months, and he confirmed that what they have seen yesterday has never happened in Bamenda for the past 6 months they have been in Bamenda, which will mean those who are now presently in the field, because a group of people were removed from Bamenda and sent back, even successfully managed the crisis in the past than the new group that we have sent to this region. How could this movement be in the whole of the Northwest and the Southwest region without information being tapped from the government? It is only very early yesterday I could see trucks leaving Douala to Buea, and after some time the movement between Buea and Douala was blocked.
But John, it was very technical, because we saw information that circulated on social media that they were going to release the Takumbeng, that's the ladies, as they call them, the Takumbeng, on the 22nd of September. You say intelligence failed or they downlook this information that circulated over 1 month.
Yeah, that is what I'm saying, that it is a problem of failed administration. You cannot be in a country and something has to happen tomorrow and you are not aware. And at the end of the day, you find the same people telling us that our military is the most intelligent, the Cameroonian military is the most sensible. There is what we call conflict prevention. Having that information and working on it helps at one time to pace down the fault of whatever was supposed to happen. And at the end of the day, before it even comes out, you block the people in their houses. There's a possibility to do that. You must not necessarily use force. But if successfully, I'm telling you, it was not only one town. This one yesterday or on Friday involves all the villages. I mean, villages we have never had. We saw their images on the social media. What was happening in those villages? People decided not to go to their farms, but to march peacefully with their palm fronds, with all whatsoever of forms of leaves. The Takumbeng were outside in some villages, which we saw them. And these are images which are not clear. And you were even talking of, I saw an old father as old as 80, with his own whistle and his own palm frond. Imagine a child who is at 17 years, seeing his own father who is already preparing his ways to the grave, coming out to fight a cause, which is not of benefit to him, but for the generation still to come, which is this child of 17 years. What do you think the children are going to do? That's why you see that massively While we are praying that children should go to school, the majority of those who joined the crowd yesterday were all youths.
Let's have this no comment now. It's good that we equally illustrate with some images so that our televiewers of the Insight know what exactly happened on Friday. When we come back, my guest and I will be talking about the case of Buea in particular, because it is alleged that the Lord Mayor of Buea, Patrick Ekema, shot somebody dead. When we come back, we shall be giving the version of the Lord Mayor. Images from the northwest region of Cameroon. Equinox Television gathered those images just for you. We will not be having time to show you the images of Buea, but what happened in Buea was particular because the mayor of Buea is accused of having shot one person dead, and on social media it has gone viral, but the mayor, through some communicators, have refuted this allegation that the mayor did not shoot any person. It should be noted that the compound of the mayor of Buea was equally visited by some protesters. His cars that were littered on the compound were destroyed, windscreens destroyed. Now we're talking about administrators shooting some of these protesters, even though that of the mayor is not yet confirmed. We cannot independently confirm that, but it is on social media everywhere that he shot one person dead.
Yeah, you will imagine that the mayor of Buea, Patrick Ekema, has been at the limelight of he who proved to be more showing solidarity for the CPDM party and says he's the lone leader and he owns Buea. And it is always, as I said, the speeches we make should stop following us. The mayor of Buea has equally been within this wrong that his certificates have been faked. He got a very false matric at the University of Buea and even got there on classified advanced level papers. These are a lot of things that have surrounded the mayor, and his speeches have always been that to him. Some time ago he said the protesters, those who were arrested, were supposed to be given a death penalty. They never thought they were going to be free. So a lot of people are still looking for occasion to equally settle scores with him. This is what I'm saying. But then, the mayor has a civil police. They are what we call the municipal police. They have the right to also protect his compound. If the same people that are supposed to protect him were not there at the same time to protect, the mayor would have instead, in many places we have seen a civil administrator taking a hideout and still making his decisions. But if they should come out and instead shoot or send bullets on the crowd, then they are intending to create something else. In a peaceful nation like ours, it is time the administrators, whom we have elected, should know that they are there to serve and not to be served. Because how are they to be served? Or are they being served? You will imagine that a mayor like this in Buea will expect that people should pay taxes, and he used the taxes to construct his own personal belongings. At one time in Buea, you can imagine that people had to argue out on certain dues that were not within the premises of the municipal fee. And all this has created he has made a lot of people to get into his personal life, of which at the beginning it was not. He let people to find out information about him, and much of this information is still going to be filtered.
But even though we cannot confirm today that he collected taxes and constructed his houses,
yes,
that information we cannot confirm that.
Yeah, that is what I'm saying. That when we receive information like this, it will mean some people are equally being directed behind him to find out about his private life, because the words he has used are against those who elected him. Remember, you are a mayor because you were elected by a group of people. But the moment you turn your back against the same people who elected you, there's bound to be a problem. There's bound to be conflict. You are creating a breach where or how can I say, you are creating a wall which you will not have access to your electorate. It is very bad. Most often than not, we bridge the gap between the ruling class and the subordinates. But when you build a wall, people will find many means always to create a hole within the wall where they can instead spy. And you know what means when people spy you? It will mean that you are getting to do something which is not, to you, is not known. But at one point, when the information is brought back to light, you become humiliated. This is what they are trying to do with the mayor in Buea. He may claim or he may give out the information that I haven't or I did not shoot against any protester or whatsoever, but Cameroonians will keep on receiving the information that the mayor in Buea is a bad mayor. We are not getting into details. The moment you take your arm against the people who put you in office, be very careful. Even the gods of the land, I believe in Buea, we have what they call the Fasa motors. They are not equally comfortable. You were not there to kill or to spill blood. Any stool or the office that spill blood, then you are no longer for the interest of the people. You already know that within the next election, that's what we are saying. The next election, we are not far. You are not, surely, you will not be the candidate, except you are being imposed, like that been happening. For we know in Cameroon, many often are not, those who are elected into the office are not those whom the citizens accepted to be there. And the list will come from Yaoundé telling you that party politics, ethics of the party demands that the other person whom you people choose to represent is not efficient enough. So we will impose this one to be the candidate of the party. This is what is happening. Yes. And incompetence is so. Those whom we elect into offices, if they are not competent enough, there is always bound to be a problem. When you put your professional qualification educationally in question, then we can equally be doubting if you are capable of governing a group of people. This is what is happening with the mayor of Buea. I believe the mayor should be the one of those officers who can calm down tension at the time. There's one person that left Buea. Today, I may like to call his name Belamoki Charles, the senator, and we have never heard anything evil. That is somebody who is an architect of managing humans. If you know how to mind or manage the mind of human beings. Some people left their offices before you start getting troubles that were there when he was on sick. Because throughout his period in power, he tried by all means to make sure that certain things doesn't come up, even to the hearing of the press. He tried to settle his cause behind camera. But when you decide and start settling scores, you know what you journalists are, you start settling scores in front of cameras, it is very bad. The publicity about you can never be good.
All right, Ako John, now, what message did the people of the Northwest and Southwest region send to Yaoundé on Friday?
I would say the strongest of the message is that they have just said we are still united and we keep on with our cause. At one time, remember, the propaganda for the back to school was made. Ministers made a lot of tours in this region. At the same time the ministers were in the region, schools did not open. And after serious persuasion, we have planted the military left and right so that children should go to school. You still find the same children that were to go to school on the streets. I even noticed in some places children were caught by the roadside and said they should go to school even when they are not registered. In some places, like in Kupe Maninguba, the elites go there and said the academic year will be free, that anybody who has not paid school fees have a right to go to school. They should not send them away for school fees. These are not people, the grassroots problems. You cannot get into an examination, a teacher set questions, and you decided to pose your own question and you start answering. You are not answering the exam. Obviously, you failed the exam. The people of the Northwest and the Southwest region has made demands to the government, and which you know very well. Before this crisis, a lot of things were tabled. There were about 11 points, and on the verge of discussion, some members were arrested. And on arresting the people, negotiation all stopped abruptly, and now we start managing by those whom we have arrested. At time internet was cut off, and with the demands of the international community, restore the internet. Internet came, but what happened? Some people were in prison. We were now managing a different situation. How can we be talking about people in prison rather than solving the problems that the people made? Yes, some people have said issues like federalism are not supposed to be discussed. I don't see where the evil is. If we look at the life of other nations, the problem will still exist. Because at the level of United Nations, I will tell you, and even the African Court of Human Rights, sometime back in 2000, advised the Cameroonian authority, get back to your people and settle the problem there at the beginning. We are not solving the problem. Go to the people and settle the problem. At the beginning, people said there was federalism, and the government said no. But I have said, when we are living in a country like ours, and there is a welcoming opinion, what do? We use the means legal. The state does not reject, because the state is governing individuals. You are governing the people, and the people said for now, we might not be comfortable with this system of governance. Can you change an option? You don't use arms against them to stop their demands. You used public institution, which was the dialogue they were doing, but the government was rather not patient enough to continue with dialogue. Dialogue has never created harm. Dialogue has instead been a better forum for state rules. In many parts of the world, there are what we call crisis detection commissions, meaning before even it came to light, I will tell you, we used to have, then I will say, may his soul rest in peace, and you will not know that Professor Peter Agbotabi has been one of the most instrumental ministers in southern Cameroon, and particularly from the region where he comes from, the Southwest region. And we are not doubting, those of us who knew him are not doubting that this thing came up immediately after his death, so few months after his death. You can imagine that within it, most of those who are for this movement are boys from this area. And this man has had a lot of time to even visit Mafe at midnight, certain times when he noticed that there was going to be a movement. You will still imagine what they call the SNC was perpetrated some time ago in Manu division. And the leader, Baba Otonayamba, who died some time ago, was from this area. But this man succeeded to calm them down until his death. Then today we are talking of movement within the Anglophone region, meaning most of those whom we have in government are not qualified. Because when you manage a group of people, I tell you now that until his death, this man still remains a popular minister within the minds of Manu people and even the Southwesterners, because he was capable of calming down certain situations before they even throw back to the public. So this is what we're doing. In Cameroon, we should learn to create what we call conflict detection committees, which can propose and even handle situations far before they are even made popular. And this is what we are not accepting, and I don't know how we are going to move about it.
And definitely we know the big date is coming up. The big date, we know that on that day every year, there's usually some sentiment that comes up. Now how can that be prevented? The same thing that happened on the 22nd of September, can it be prevented today?
It will be very difficult, I'm afraid. I'm afraid that it's going to be very difficult to handle 1st October. Because from what we have seen yesterday, common protests to interrupt the speech of the president in New York, people decided to march at mass yesterday. 1st October, it will mean that if care is not taken, except the military is going to be trained efficiently to know what to do, but I will not be telling the administration what to do. They know what they can do.
No, but as a good Cameroonian, you can tell them what to do. You can tell them what to do.
Yes, that is what I'm saying. When it comes to heists of this nature, if you want to protect the life of persons, it is but normal that on 2, 3, 4 days to this occasion, you may come out with certain rules that will prohibit the movement of persons in and out of the various regions.
But that was taken in the Northwest Regional Capital, in Mezam. The SDO prohibited public manifestation, but it took place on Friday.
No, it is not public manifestation that we are saying.
24 hours after that decision.
24 hours, we have the decision, Hansen. This decision was signed, I think, on the 21st.
Yes.
And 24 hours from then was to be evening of the next day. And this decision expires on few minutes to what? The strike period.
No, I mean the SDO itself. You are talking about
the of the governor.
Of the governor.
Yeah.
The SDO had taken a decision banning all public gatherings. 24 hours after, there was a public gathering, public manifestation.
No, that is what I'm saying. When you want
so they defied the SDO.
The moment people start defining the SDO, meaning the SDO too is not with the people. When a person rules and you are closer, a chief, you need to see what happened at the palace in Nkwen. The chief could not allow the flag to continue being there. People got to Nkwen and brought down the official flag of the country. And we were all watching the images. Where are those other people who call them the chindas of the chiefs? Then there is a problem. Somewhere, the authorities might have lost ground. There is no contact between the government and the electorate. So he's going to accept, otherwise we need to rebuild back confidence to the people that the government can do better. I'm telling you, if we know already to protect Buea, to protect Bamenda, there is an aspect of forbidding. Some time ago they said ghost towns, not so, and their ghost towns are heavily respected. Why is it that when government passes an order, the order of the government is being defied? Then the government is lacking the meeting, that meeting between the people and the ruling class. Now,
do you think President Pobia had a chance to address this issue at the United Nations, even though we know the United Nations is a place where diplomacy is being carried out, it's been showcased? Do you think that at 2 p.m. local time, when he addressed members of the 72nd UN General Assembly, he had a chance to equally address the Anglophone crisis, which he did not?
Exactly. Every Cameroonian went to his TV, to his radio, thinking of what the head of state was going to say. But what was the message of the head of state to the United Nations? In fact, we are not giving you those photographs. You have seen a lot of videos, and you realize that the moment the head of state was to take on to the rostrum to present his speech, most of the delegates instead walked out of the hall. And the few that were there had time.
BBC Radio describes it as the head of state of Cameroon addressing empty seats. That I'm talking the words of BBC Radio.
Yeah, that is what I'm telling you, that we watch it. The few members of delegation that were present in the hall kept on manipulating their telephones rather than listening. But what would they listen to? Somebody that has been in that house for the past 35 years. What will come new? What is different? The same demands the head of state made some time ago about the equal sharing of benefits, incentives to African countries for protecting the Congo Basin, are the same demands he made. Talking about peace and security is not new at the United Nations. But remember a speech made like that of Johnson Sirleaf of Liberia. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. You can imagine what the woman said. 7 years ago, I stood here as the president of Liberia before this very Congress. And now I am standing here to tell you that this is my last General Assembly as the president of Liberia. For elections in Liberia will tell you the next president to govern. And this will be the person to come here in the next General Assembly. What happened? People will listen to such speech and will get it, will make analysis of it. These are people who rule their country with what? A clear mind. There is no need to stay in power, and we are fed by the words of Machiavelli that absolute power corrupts absolutely. When you stay in power for too long, you entangle yourself into difficulties which you were not supposed to. And we know very well that our own head of state, presently being the president of the republic, is not there again for his interest. Those who are keeping him there are his chindas. Those who, they know that the moment this man's head collapses, they will have nowhere to hide. And so they are still maintaining him. The president we have might have been a good leader, but the entourage behind him is fake. Because several times, poor information is given to the head of state. I don't know who read the speech of the president. It was a clear opportunity for the head of state to even admit that even in his own country, there is a problem. And we have been trying dialogue to succeed.
You expected him to wash dirty linen in public?
No, it is not dirty linen. This is an international issue. We are not, America is aware. The State Department just made a letter to Cameroon on the 21st of September, on the 19th of September. There is Secretary of State, the U.S. State Department that has made a letter to Cameroon because some U.S. citizens have been captured in the fight of Anglophone crisis. And this is not new. So if it is already at the State House in the U.S., then everywhere in the world, everybody knows about the Cameroonian situation. It is not because maybe Donald Trump has not pronounced it or has not, Macron has not said it openly, will they say there is no problem. It would have been a wanted situation or a gesture from the president to have admitted that his doors are still open for negotiation within his country. And why not take out sincere decisions? You remember what we have been waiting. People have been thinking that at the half of the crisis, the president can talk to them. Imagine our own president to leave Cameroon to speak in New York, but the same person is unable to talk to his own citizens back home. This is a vacancy. This is an insufficiency you are creating within your administration. What a fallacy that you cannot talk to your own people. You always prefer to make your speeches abroad. It needs to pace down tension. Some people have even said in many quarters, if the head of state, by his own modest opinion, could have made some visitations, get to Boya and talk to people, get to Bamenda and talk to the same people as head of state, a lot of this would have been calmed down.
Now you talk about Donald Trump. His speech to Iran and other countries, North Korea, Venezuela, did you see him speaking indirectly to the head of state of Cameroon?
Yes, he did. He did. And he made mention of those who cut off internet, those who detain people without rights, those who take their own citizens as bullocks, those who cannot manage. Then he is coming out for them. That is what he said. He is coming out for them, as many Cameroonians say. We have equally said he was.
Even though his policy on the African continent is still unclear since he came.
In fact, Donald Trump has no policy for Africa. Donald Trump has no policy for Africa.
So why interest for Cameroon? That's why many say he was not speaking to Cameroon.
No, they said he was not speaking to Cameroon. That's what many said. But the values he mentioned, Cameroon is a victim. The values he mentioned, the rights of man, the right freedom of expression, movement of people, the right to internet, right to communication, and Cameroon is a victim. He might not have mentioned Cameroon, but if he's talking to North Korea, he's talking to Iran, he's talking to Venezuela, where the same crimes are committed, it does not mean that Cameroon is an exception. And remember, I will tell you that within the U.S. ruling class, everybody has his, has his assignment. The moment the president made a speech, everybody, if you are for Africa, you take the speech and walk. How is that speech true for your region? There is U.S. Department for African Affairs. Yes. They might be reporting on issues in Africa. They are not reporting on Europe. And that is why I love them. Donald Trump might have not spoken or voiced out Cameroon in his speech, but the report coming from Cameroon. And I will tell you, intelligence, the U.S. Secretary General, Secretary of State, one of the aspects is that they are highly informed by the U.S. Embassy in Yaoundé.
The U.S. Embassy, which has banned all official travel in the northwest region of Cameroon.
Yes, he has instructed, not banned. He has given a counseling to his citizens that those who are working within the area should be very careful and should have the contact of the embassy in case of any inconvenience, because they too need the region.
The ban on the 10th of October.
Yeah, I said that it was not really a ban. The message I saw was giving counseling. The ban movement in the north, but that those who are traveling within the Anglophone zone should avoid conflict situations.
Officially, I'm talking about a recent decision.
Okay.
Officially, in the northwest region of Cameroon.
In the northwest region.
Till the 10th of October.
10th of October, okay. But sometime I can tell you that they have their statistics. They have their statistics, meaning even the movement yesterday. I will tell you that if you ask members of the U.S. Embassy, they will know that something was going to happen yesterday. And so they take some of those questions. Why are they talking of 10th of October? They know very well that it's 1st October. But what are we doing within our own ranks, within a country, to prevent citizens from this a disturbance or destruction or protesters? What are we doing? But normally, as I said, it is normal. A state might have lost its legitimacy, but legitimacy also can be renewed. Okay. Why can we renew legitimacy?
Those are the solutions now before we go?
Yeah, that is what I'm saying. We can renew legitimacy with the people by maybe, if the president comes, if we have sent ministers, we have sent senators, we have sent parliamentarians, and we are unable to manage a crime. What a government comes out in some regimes is to even, annul the parliament, annul the senate. And we go in, even the mayors elect, everybody is counseled. We get into fresh elections. We get into fresh elections where those who think their ideas were to be tabled before the government can participate in the same government, then try to see if we can bring the country back together. We need to bring back the country together. We don't learn to instead create a gap. Because by not talking to the people, you create a gap. By not including those who have the opinion. Who are those leaders? The mayors, the parliamentarians. Why not the SDOs and the governors? We should pass into what they have called real decentralization or whatsoever. We should elect our governors. A governor elected cannot use an arm against his own people. A mayor who uses arms against his people then is not there for the people. This is a barbaric regime, a barbaric behavior which can be sanctioned only during elections. And during elections, these people will obviously send their own candidates and with their own political parties. Because some people even detest belonging to already existing parties. They need a party that will answer their worries. At the time you annul the parliament, you annul the Senate, you carry out fresh election. We must not carry election only on the due date when elections are organized. We have seen that in many places.
Okay.
We must not wait 2018 when we have the pot boiling.
All
and we see that we can avoid the boiling of this pot. We can annul the election then. Even at the level of the presidential election, why not?
Okay.
Some people can propose new candidates who can rule them, and we allow them.
Just last word on the recent explosion that we have been having in the northwest region of Cameroon. The governor has described it as a terrorist attack. The Minister for Communication as a terrorist attack. Do you see it as a terrorist attack?
I will not like us to associate issues which can be handled locally as terrorism. There is even no belief because the governor, including the minister, most of them don't even have the information of what really happened in the field. You remember the first explosion, we were told that it was an explosion of the gas bottle. Meaning the government is not even sure of the information it gives to its people. But this is the same government we are paying taxes for information. Everybody pays CRTV tax in Cameroon. And it will mean that that is a right for information. If it is an explosion, as we have seen, who did and how did it manage to be where it is? We are just talking about the incident around SADP. SADP, I believe, is one of those zones in Cameroon which is supposed to be highly secured. But if there's an explosion within SADP, why not at Mashembopi? Why at SADP? So just imagine that. Who is going to SADP to? There are a lot of worries that even some of the intelligence officers of the government, of the military, they perpetrate this act to even give a cause that the government should find a reason to blame the others as terrorists.
You have the right to your opinion.
Everybody has a right to your opinion. And that is what I'm saying.
Because can you prove it?
That is what I'm saying. It has happened in many instances. We are here talking about the Legnos disaster, which up to date we have not had a solution. I'm just telling you, a lot of times what happened in Cameroon is that government sends its own very agent to counter opinion. You will know very many political parties that exist in Cameroon as independent political parties, but they are working for a sole political party. I'm just telling you that. They got registered on the electoral system thinking they are political parties, but at the end of the verge of the election, what do? They give their vote to that party. It is possible in Cameroon.
Okay, it was a pleasure having you in this day's edition of the program, The Inside on Equinox Television. Akpo John, you are a university don.
The pressure is mine, and anytime issues concerning Cameroon are involved, I believe we shall talk them together.
All right, it was equally a pleasure being with you in this day's edition of the program, The Insight on Equinox Television. If you did enjoy the program, take our rendezvous there for next week, Sunday, same time, 6:30 p.m., same channel, Equinox Television. Good night.